For our group, we did Autonomous Commercial Transportation by Angel Zambrano, Andy Hof, Patrick Grahek, Cam Bryan, and Mary Cornfield. Our central question is, what is the future of autonomous commercial ground transportation as it relates to trends and changes in demographics, technology, government regulation, and economic factors? Autonomous personal transportation is an industry that has been growing with interest from companies like Google, Tesla, Nissan, and Uber. We'll be looking at it from the commercial standpoint. The four forces of change we indicated are demographics, including urbanization and an increasing age of drivers. We looked at the technology, including smarter cars from the rise of big data. We looked at economic factors, including e-commerce, which is making it logistically harder for freight companies to transport goods. And lastly, we looked at government regulations, including 3 states allowing autonomous vehicles on the road and stricter regulations for truck drivers.
Some forecasts that we looked at. Within demographics, truck driver employment has been decreasing since the 90s. We expect that this number will continue to drop as the baby boomer generation, which comprises a large portion of truck drivers, retires. Due to urbanization and the lack of infrastructure improvements, many large cities are experiencing high congestion rates, which leads to wasted fuel. We expect this to continue, causing a greater need for more efficient vehicles. Number of fatalities was increasing up until the mid-2000s, until smarter and safer technology on cars began to be adopted at a faster rate, such as traction control, stability control, and cruise control. Government transportation revenue is made up of many different fines and costs that are avoidable to shipping companies if they remove the driver factor of their vehicles, as well as certain driving characteristics such as engine braking and idle time, which could usually lead to excessive fines. And e-commerce has been increasing exponentially since the 1990s, at first increasing at about 0.5% per quarter to about 6% a quarter in late 2012. We expect this to continue to increase. We chose the alternative future scenario method. Within our green light or growth stage, we expect 30 to 50% adoption of autonomous vehicles by freight and parcel delivery firms. In our constraint or wrong way scenario, we expect 10 to 20% adoption of autonomous vehicles by freight and parcel delivery firms. In our transformative or express lane scenario, we expect 70 to 90% adoption of autonomous vehicles by freight and parcel delivery firms. And in our collapse or pileup scenario, we expect 0% adoption of autonomous vehicles by freight and parcel delivery firms.
So what are the implications of each of these scenarios? Well, in the green light scenario, we expect reduced costs of delivery, cheaper shipping, a decline in air and rail transportation, and 20% of truckers to lose their jobs. In the wrong way scenario, we expect autonomous freight to be regionally contained, we expect shipping prices to be more dependent on distance, and we expect autonomous technology to be incorporated in interstate services such as food delivery. The express lane scenario, we expect truck driver employment to become obsolete. This efficiency will cause 2-day shipping to become free and the norm amongst companies. We expect the truck driver and freight industry to become more concentrated, and we expect the experimentation of autonomous technology and emergency services. Finally, in the pileup scenario, we expect tech and freight companies to lose their R&D investments in autonomous technology, a growth in air and rail transportation, increased government regulation on similar future technology, and increased wages and improved benefits for truck drivers. So some of the signposts would be, the first would be government legislation. These companies like UPS and FedEx should be aware of which states are allowing autonomous transportation and which have banned them. Autonomous accidents, if there's a well-publicized accident with an autonomous vehicle, this could obviously mean the detriment of autonomous trucks. R&D expenses, and Teamsters union negotiations. In terms of strategy, if the green light scenario is imminent, we recommend companies follow the traffic and continue R&D investments in autonomous technology. For the wrong way scenario, we recommend the companies switch lanes and develop a more regionalized strategy. For the express lane scenario, we recommend a convoy where companies merge in order to capitalize on the economies of scale in autonomous freight technology. And finally, in the pileup scenario, we recommend that companies get off at the next exit and revert back to the traditional methods of human drivers.